In this video, I will give you 3 tips how you could connect with your partner much better. Hello, my beautiful subscribers. Rasa the dancer is here. And in today's video, we're going to talk connection between partners. So if you dance partner dance, doesn't matter what it is, these tips will apply to you. So if you're dancing salsa, bachata, if you're dancing ballroom or even kizomba, these tips will be useful for you. When you're dancing in the partner dance, besides connecting to the music, the priority should always be to connect with your partner. Because when you have connection with your partner and you're connecting with the music, that's where the magic really lies. That's why we enjoy dancing with other people, holding hands, keeping them close. It gives us a different kind of satisfaction. So without further ado, let me give you those 3 tips to help you to connect with your partner better. All right, so tip number 1 is connection through a touch or a frame. Now, that's the technical part of how to get a good connection. So every dance requires you to have a different way to lead your partner and how to follow. If you are dancing in a close hold, you would have what we call a ballroom frame. If you're holding hands, you would have a connection in the fingertips. And every dance has a different technique, how we hold the frame, how we participate in the frame, and finding connections through holding hands in any way possible, different body parts. But anytime we touch, there is technique behind it. And if you perfect that technique, you will have a better connection with your partner. Now, having a good frame and knowing techniques how to connect just by even holding hands, it sounds technical, but if you do it right, it ends up being personal. So it's something, let's say you're leading and you have a great frame and you know how to connect with your frame with your follower. Something happens as a follower when we feel a good frame, we relax. We feel like you got us. So then psychologically, we feel more confident with you. And vice versa. If the lead is dancing with you and you're a follower and you're connecting with his frame, suddenly in his mind is, she's with me. She will be able to go on the journey where I take her. I'm not going to have to work hard. So even though it starts technical, and if you perfect that technique, it takes you to the next step, which becomes a bit more emotional. So number 1, I would say no matter what dance, you have to start by first finding your connections through the hold of the hands or a frame. Tip number 2, breathing. Breathing is a crucial part for living, staying alive. Staying alive, but also for dancing. Breathing is everything. So first, if you stop breathing naturally in general, your body tends to tense up. And when you tense up, it's not good for your partner, it's not good for you, and it's just horrible. So in general, for dancing, breathing is crucial, right? Natural breathing. But sometimes when you feel like there's no connection, like you're doing the things and it's not really working out, sometimes pausing, swaying side to side and just taking a breath, and your partner feels that breath, they suddenly stop everything that's going around and they find that breath with you and they can reconnect with you. Because sometimes you connect, you start dancing, something goes wrong, and then you lose that connection. And you might have a good frame, but then, a lot of things going through everybody's heads and you lose that connection. So pausing for a moment and maybe just swaying and just catching a breath with your partner, but intentional, not like, right? It's just like a nice deep breath and release the tension. It allows your partner as well to take a beat and take that breath, and you can reconnect and start dancing again. So that's another very, very important bit, the breathing. It's not just natural breathing is good for dancing, but taking that deep breath when you need to reconnect is also a beautiful thing to do. But also, some dances require breathing in the preparation. So sometimes we have to prepare in order to get a better connection with the partner. So let's say if you're doing sensual bachata and you're about to do a chest rotation, you need to breathe in order to prep, in order to go. So your partner then breathes in order to prep, in order to go. So if you breathe together in that moment as you prepare to do something that is a little bit more complicated, it just links you, it connects you. So there's so many good reasons why breathing is kind of like a crucial part to understand, learn when it's appropriate and how to use it correctly. And it's going to enhance your dancing, and it's also going to keep those connections strong. Tip number 3, you have to be attentive. Now that's a bit more complicated because it's not really a technical thing that you can learn. It's not like somebody says, practice this and you'll get there. Being attentive is a state of mind, I would say. It's the same as being attentive in your relationships, whether it's with your family or your intimate relationship. That means noticing things that are not necessarily obvious. That means you have to be there and you have to deliberately pay attention to more than just doing the moves or responding to the moves. Does that make sense? Now, why is being attentive important? Because that's the ultimate way to build connection when you're dancing. Yes, you got the frame, you got the breathing, you're connecting with the music, whatever. And maybe a big part, of course, is if you're already attracted to that person, then it's a different kind of connection as well. But let's say that's not there. So then you have the breathing, the frame, and then what else? It's being attentive to your partner. So you have to notice if you're leading, if your follower is a little bit off time, so you could help them with the timing. You need to notice if there's people around so that your partner wouldn't bump into other people. You need to notice if your partner seems to be anxious. So maybe you start nice and easy to slowly build the conversation in dance with the complicated moves. Maybe you see your followers overexcited. So maybe you need to think about, okay, how am I going to reach there, or how I'm going to tone it down? Or you have to notice whether your partner is playing with you and think, let me respond to that. But in order to know all of this, you have to notice and see it. So you have to be in it. If you're just doing the moves, even if you're doing it to the music and everything works, unless you're paying attention to your partner, it's really hard. As a follower, we tend to pay attention a little bit more, I believe, only because the following requires us to learn how to pick up signals. So our mindset is always like we are constantly there, just trying to feel things, know things, and understand what's going to happen next. So we are on alert a lot of the times. So we do tend to pick up like little bits and pieces there and here. But overall, it's a two-people job. Like if one person is attentive, but the other one is not, that's not how we build connection. Connection is built on both people investing themselves in that situation, right? So if you are a leader and a follower and you both are attentive in that moment, because of that, you will notice each other's needs, and also you will notice each other's vibes. And if you try to come to each other's vibes rather than just trying to bring somebody else into your vibe, you will find that you suddenly have a connection. So that's a wonderful thing. Sometimes connection just happens naturally, right? But if it's not naturally happening and it's not that often, then you have to be able to find out how you could make that happen. And so paying attention to your partner is definitely the way to go. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you found this useful. And of course, remember this channel is educational channel. So if you think you have good tips for other fellow dancers on how to increase connection whilst they're dancing with their partner, leave a comment. The comments are there for us to actually exchange information and see where everybody's at. So if you have something to share, use the comments, and of course, subscribe to this channel, give me some love, show me some likes, press the button. And of course, I'm gonna leave you here with other tips on how to connect on the dance floor. So check them out and keep on dancing.